Okay, so let's do another example for while statement. So again, the reminder, the syntax for while statement is we have this while keyword and then we have expression. So we write this expression based on our needs. And this expression is a Boolean expression, which will give us true or false or 1 or 0. And if this expression comes out true, what we want to do, we provide them as statements inside the while block, while statement. So for example, if this expression comes out true, I will execute these two statements repeatedly. And then once these statements are executed, again, I will go here and I will check the expression. If it is true, then again, these set of statements will execute. Again, I will go here, then I will check the expression. If the expression is true, again, I will execute this. Then again, I will go here. If the expression is true, I will execute the same set of statements. If the expression is false, then I will exit, okay? So that's the idea of while loop. Now, let's write a program where the program will ask the user repeatedly for 5 times to provide 5 numbers. And then the program will add those numbers. And then finally, the program will display the sum of those numbers. So here, since the program will ask to enter 5 numbers repeatedly and add them, so we have to use a cin statement inside the while loop to interactively ask the user to provide with those 5 numbers. And we have to also add them inside the while loop. And once the user has entered those 5 numbers, will come out from the while loop, and then we will display the sum of those 5 numbers. So here we need how many variables we need? We need one variable where we can store the number that is entered by the user for each iteration. Then we need one number where we can store the sum of these entered numbers. Then we need one number which can track the number of times the user has entered those numbers. So we need 3 numbers, right? So let's say we have declare them like this. We will write int num is the variable to get the number from the user in every iteration. Then total is the variable where we'll store the sum. And then count is the variable where we will track how many times the user has entered a number. So we have 3 variables, right? Here, we also need to initialize the sum total as 0 because we have to initialize it with 0, and then whatever number the user will enter will add a value into that total, right? So here, what we have to do, since we are asking for 5 times, so we have to compare count for less than or equal to 5. So this loop, we have this Boolean expression, which is basically used to check that whether count is smaller or equal to 5. If this is true, then we will execute a statement which will be written inside this while loop. And since count is compared with 5 and we initialize it with 1, right? So we have to also increment the count when the user will enter a number, right? So here, before we go to the beginning of the while loop, we should also do this. Okay, so now in every iteration, we are updating the count variable, right? Then here now, what we have to do, we have to ask the user to enter a number, right? So we'll prompt enter a number, and then user will basically enter the number. And then, so user has entered a number, we have to add this number into the total variable. We have to update our total by adding num. Make sense? Now we have this. So these 4 statements that you are seeing, they will execute repeatedly for 5 times. So once count is greater than 5, then this condition will be true. Then the loop will be finished and we will come here. So here we can display the total sum. Right. So now how this code will work. So let's understand this. Okay. So here we have 3 variables. One is num, another is total, another is count. So num is basically the number that user will enter in every iteration. Total is the number where we will hold the total sum of all 5 numbers that the user will enter. And count is a variable which we will use to keep track that how many times the user has entered numbers, right? So here now we have a code while statement code. Here we have this keyword while, and here we have this expression count less than equal to 5. And then if this expression is true, we'll ask the user to enter a number, and the user will enter a number using cin. So these 2 lines we are repeatedly asking to the user provide number. So that's why we have kept them inside the while loop. And then once the user has entered a number, then we are adding this number into total. So num will be added with total, and then you update the total. And then you increment count by 1. So initially count was 1. So when we compare count less than or equal to 5, so 1 is compared for less than or equal to relationship with 5. So 1, which is true, so this becomes first time it is. And then if it is true, then all these statements from line number 20 to 23 will be executed. So first your program will display enter a number, then you will provide a number. So let's say you provide a number 25. That 25 will be added with total that is initialized with 0. So 25 plus 0 gives you 0. 25 plus 0 will give you 25 that you will assign to total. So now your total has become 25, and now your count has become basically 2, because count plus plus will increment count by 1. So initially count was 1, now count has become 2. So then again, you come here, you compare 2 with 5, which gives you true again. And then if it is true, then again your code will execute line number 20, 21, 22, and 23. So here it will again ask you to enter a number. So let's say you enter 5, and then 5 will be added to total. So total initially was 25, now it will become 30. So 30 will be assigned to total. And then you increment count. So initially count was 2, now it will become 3 basically. Again, you go back to this loop, you compare 3 with 5 for less than or equal to relationship, which will give you 2. And then you again ask the user to enter a number. So let's say the user has entered number 10. So 10 will be added to total. Total was 30. Now it will become 40. And then count will become 4. Right. And then you will basically compare count less than equal to 5, which is true. You again ask the user to enter a number. Let's say user enter 5 again. And then you add 5 to total. Total will become 45. And your count will be updated to basically 5. So now count is 5. So 5 less than equal to 5, true. And let's say you ask the user to enter a number, user will enter a number. Let's say you enter 12, and 12 will be added to total. So total was 45, 12 is added to 45, so it will become 57, and your count will become now 6. So now 6 less than or equal to 5, which is false. So then your code will jump here, line number 26. So line number 26, it will display what is the total. So total is 57. So that value will be displayed here. Okay. So let's run this program. So let's say here, first we type 25, then we type 5, then we type 10, then we type 5, then we type 12. So you see that it gives you 57, right? So that's basically using C in and C out statement repeatedly inside while loop, right? So here, keep in mind that why we have kept these two statements inside while loop, because we are repeatedly asking the user to enter a number, and the user is providing that number. So that's why we have to keep them inside the while loop. So if we execute any statement repeatedly, we should keep that inside the while loop. And why we are keeping this total outside the while loop? Because we just want to display the total at the end. We don't want to display the total in every iteration. You can do that if you want to check that how the total is progressing. You can keep basically that statement inside while loop. Otherwise, since we want to display it only once the total is done, so we are keeping it outside the while. Okay. So now let's see another example.